Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Muhammad and Friends. Brothers and sisters, we are streaming live. So if you'd like to participate in today's show, please give us a call at 773-434-6625. And as a reminder, please follow us on our social media platforms, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're on YouTube, click on that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever we post a show. Brothers and sisters, I am so excited to be joined today by my friend and brother, a brother who I cherish, I value, and he has been elected. In his election, along with the Education for Everyone ticket in Camden City, New Jersey, for the Board of Education, I am joined by our brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Jamil. Thanks for having me as always.
Brother, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the official results are not in, but for what's tallied so far, we expect you to be a winner and everyone on your ticket. So here's an early congratulations from the brothers and sisters here at Crow on your efforts, brother.
Yes, I want to first thank Almighty God, Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We thank him for his coming and raising in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and perfect guide in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I also want to take this opportunity, Brother Jamil, to thank you all, Crow, for that major endorsement that you all gave me on the national level that sprinkles down locally here because, you guys are very known in here. And I want to thank the co-founders, Brother Shaheed Muslim, Brother Halif Muhammad, and of course, the late and great, your dear father, Brother Munir Muhammad, and all the members of Crow and yourself for the support that you all have given me over the years and helping to nurture this brother's political career in our interaction that we have as watching. As I had a recent conversation with Brother Mandine not too long ago, and he was thanking me for my service and our work here in Camden, and he was saying how he was excited about how a brother like myself was paying attention to Brother Munir as we was talking about and reminiscing about the great works and times that we had together. And I'm so very grateful for that.
Yes, sir. During the broadcast of the show, we showed some pictures, and I think that's one of the beautiful things, especially doing this work, when someone pays attention. And it's one thing to have knowledge or to learn things; it's a different thing to test it and apply it. And I think what you've been able to do, along with the brothers and sisters there in Camden, in building relationships in all walks of life, as we were promised by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is a testimony to not only your efforts, but the truth of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it is indeed a blessing and an inspiration to those of us who understand. And that's why this accomplishment, albeit some people in the audience may not truly understand the magnitude of it, but for a Muslim follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through all the things that comes with that as far as the opposition from people, but to establish those relationships throughout the area, and be able to run on a platform not of what you promised to do, but to be able to point to what you have done and what you continue to do in the community, I think adds added value to who you are, brother. And so we're tremendously proud of you.
Yes, and it's very interesting. And as we talk about this journey, this past several months of the campaign, it gives us an idea. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. And it gives us a gauge of where we're at, of the boldness of going out there and getting involved in our city political arena. And this is just giving us a gauge of the percentage of our effect here in Camden City on the citizens here. and what we represent, this small body of believers here on Haddon Avenue in Camden, that our impact that we have made throughout the city, it just gives us a gauge of where we at and how our people view us. And that's why I think this is a bold step by a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to do something that generally in the past that we generally did not get involved with, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the believers had their head down building. And however, our work and expanding our work as we're engaging on this task of trying to get to our people, which is the aim, is to impact our people, so that when we magnify ourselves, we're really magnifying Allah. And that's why we say all praise is due to Allah.
Yes, sir, brother. For those in our viewing audience who may not be as familiar with Camden, and particularly the Board of Education, just say a little bit about Camden City, where it's located, and talk more about the role in which you were recently elected.
Yes, thank you, Brother Jamil. Camden, New Jersey is we're right across the river from the great city of Philadelphia, which is getting, and it's great to see Philadelphia finally get some great news in media for their impact that they made in the state of Pennsylvania of getting the presidential election and making history with our sister, our dear sister, Sister Kamala Harris, over the hump. But we're right across a river, a mile away from Philadelphia. Camden, New Jersey is the hub of South Jersey, as we like to say, Southern New Jersey, and is the county seat here in Camden County. And it's a very excited and growing city that's doing some great things and of course, as this city, just like most urban settings around America after the riots of the 60s and the many scandals that it had during the 70s with its mayors and a few mayors after that going to actual prison for corruption, Camden is on the rebound. And we started that process of rebounding slowly, but it can most be noted by the rebounding of the work of great Mayor Dana Red, who always is a friend of Crow TV, that she started that resurgence of Camden City going in the right direction. And as we sit, and I had the opportunity to sit with her and her amazing chief of staff who we'll talk about a little bit later, the Henson family legacy of Mr. Vella Stark Henson and Dr. Pastor Chad Henson, as we were sitting at the table mapping up years ago of seeing how we could do our best to help rebuild the city. We knew that education had to be one of the main turnarounds that our city had to do. At the time, Camden was at the lower end of failing across the state of test scores and just it's failing traditional public schools were failing our children, so that we had to do something different. And I was asked to step up to the plate and help to be a part of that challenge of moving Camden in a different direction, because as you talk about investment and bringing investment into the city for people, for jobs, and to offer our people jobs and different things, that education has definitely have to be one of those components that we had to change to talk about moving forward, preparing our young people for the future, preparing for future jobs and investments that's coming, that we had an awesome task of making education decent in our community. I was glad to be a part of that from its inception.
Yes, sir. Brother, let me ask you this. It's one thing being a part of it as a community leader, in the consulting and discussion of things. You have, of course, Temple Number 20's University of Islam there in Camden. And so it's one thing as in someone who's doing work in the community, but what made you decide to actually run for the office itself? Or did it start off as an appointment and then you had to run? Take us a little bit through that history.
Correct. Thank you. Yes, it started off as an appointment. I was appointed by then Mayor Dana Red to serve, as we was all appointed board because the state came in and New Camden partnered with the state of New Jersey because the state of New Jersey wanted to do something then under the administration of former Governor Chris Christie, of turning the traditional public school system around. And I was appointed, and after being appointed, some of the citizens of Camden felt as though that because of, like many other towns and communities, that it was a question posed on one of our elections, that should the board continue to be appointed, or should the Board of Education be voted on by the people like other towns and communities. And it was a no-brainer for the community of Camden, and I'm glad that the community did that, because although that turnaround at the time that the state imposed on our city, that it was an all appointed board, it helped to turn around. But as we turned it around, having our citizens and not, trying to send out a message of all the struggles that, our people around this world and particularly around this country went through in having a right to vote, we felt as though that, and I have to give our Sheriff Gilbert Wilson credit for that, as he was the sheriff then, and, very influential here in the city of Camden. Him and his late wife, Martha Wilson, they, kind of lobbied us to really kind of, don't go in any direction. Just let the people decide whether that, we wanted our board. There was a question on the ballot at the time, and the people decided they didn't want us to be an elected board. So this is the second cohort of an elected board. We had one last year, and my third year term was up, and I was considering, or not considering running, but after I was asked by our late former board president, who y'all very familiar with here with Crow T Television, the late Miss Martha Wilson, untimely passing. I was asked to be her vice president, and because of that passing, and she was supposed to we were supposed to run together because we were both appointed at the same time. And at her untimely passing, as she was trying to encourage me to, come on, let's do this, let's do this together. And that's how I became board president, stepping up behind her. And so, her passing, and for those in the community of her legacy, I felt it was a need to get involved and run, and to take a gauge of where we were at in our community. And even those who did not vote for us, it still gives us a gauge to see how we can win those people over, to seeing how education really, even though it's political in nature, how when you're a city like Camden, and most towns where urban communities, our people are at, that sometimes we got to put the politics to the side and choose the best team on the field to make decisions about educating our children.
Yes, sir.
And that is how our background, having the University of Islam, and what I've been an educator for many years after I graduated from college, came home, was an educator in Camden City School District for 9 years, and always wanted the passion of opening up the University of Islam here in Camden. Finally got the opportunity to do such, and that brought me to where we at today.
Yes, sir, brother. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the election process itself and some of the takeaways from that. But I want to go to the line because we have a couple of callers that want to speak to you. So, caller, you're on the air with Minister Wasim Muhammad.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, Brother Jamil. And assalamu alaikum to Brother Wasim. Minister, congratulations on your victory. I was praying for you all the way from New York, and I was actually watching your thing in Camden, and my family was like, you're not watching the president thing? I said, no, I got a more important election to look at. But I truly called you just to say congratulations, man. This is your brother Sydney. One love, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Wa alaikum salam, my brother. And thank you, brother. As they say, the prayers of the righteous shall prevail. And I appreciate all the prayers from those who prayed that their brother would be successful, and those who really, and especially look at the wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that in our obligatory prayer that we are taught to pray in the morning, that we pray that, oh Allah, make Muhammad successful, and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham successful, and the true followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified. So we thank the prayers of the righteous that their brother was successful.
Yes, sir, brother. Indeed. And I just have to, I always smile when I hear Brother Sidney call. He's been a long time supporter. I know that he calls in and supports you at the Muhammad Speaks radio program. And it's wonderful because he was the one, he called in even on our Wednesday show, acknowledging the work that you're doing there, brother. So thank you, Brother Sidney, for your continued support. We're going to stay on the line. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wasim, and congratulations. You're a great brother. The people there at Camden won't have to worry about any embarrassment from you. You're a wonderful black brother, and I think very highly of you. I was looking at some of the great people that come out of Camden, New Jersey, and one of my favorites from the 70s was Lola Falana, the great singer, dancer, and actress. And she was every black man's beauty queen back then. And I understand that she went to Philadelphia and went to Germantown High School. And I was really thrilled to know she was from Camden, New Jersey. And you just keep up the good work, brother, and I hope your foray into politics parlays into something magnificent.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Emmanuel Omar. And please greet your family, who every time I'm in Chicago at Crow, that is your family, your wife, and the sisters there, and well, brothers, yourself, who always, before my feet can touch the floor, I'm always treated with the utmost, as a Muslim should be treated. And I can't thank you all enough for that. And yes, you're right. I'll try to tell that before there was Beyonce, there was Lola Falana. As we say here in Camden, she was a Centerville girl, Centerville is the unofficial, capital of Camden City, the city, that area, that area birthed a lot of great people in Camden City, from the likes of Leon Huff of the wave of Gamble and Huff is from out of Centerville and Camden. There's some great people, Bart Still, and so many great people that's come out of Camden, did some wonderful things, always getting overshadowed by the great city of Philadelphia.
Yes,
and but it's great things. The old Ebony's group there from the 70s, and some great people come out of Camden.
Yes, sir, brother. Indeed, learned about the rich history, and to be honest, we wouldn't have known much about it if we wouldn't have known you for the past 12 years, brother. We wouldn't have we might have known, but it wouldn't have meant as much as it did understanding the value of Camden, brother. We have another caller. I just want to go to the air. Caller, you're on the line with Minister Wasim.
Welcome, Brother Jamil.
Walaikum salam, Sister Marta.
And greetings to you also, Minister Wasim, and as everyone else has said, congratulations.
I have a question. To Allah.
Yes, sir. I have a question in regards to your platform, and what are you proposing if you are completely elected? Are you all doing Common Core? Also, how's e-learning going? And what can you add to possibly what the new administration will possibly do, seeing that the First Lady is going to be part of the administration and she's educational? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Jamil, if you can repeat that a little bit, she was a little low, and I know I heard something about Common Core.
She said, asking about Common Core, if that was something on your platform, what do you think of that? Also, how's e-learning going? What are some of your thoughts or plans moving forward with the new president-elect First Lady, who's going to be, that's one of her, I think, platforms as far as education as well. And so what are you expecting to do moving forward with that as well?
Yes, sir. And, Common Core is something that we heard a lot about in the past. Under this, of course, administration, we haven't heard too much about that. And I'm glad she brought that up because it got some rave reviews and some not good reviews. But I know we ran on the platform of education for everyone here in Camden. As I talked about earlier with Brother Jamil, as we looked at when Camden at the time of the state takeover was 27 of maybe 29 school districts. There was at 27 as far as the lowest serving school district, that we wanted to take the opportunity, while we said education for everyone, to offer different school types here in the city of Camden. Yes, with the strength on traditional public schools, but also strengthening our charters and holding them to the, um, to the foundation of what was the goal of charter schools, and something that we call in Camden or New Jersey Renaissance schools, which is a hybrid between traditional public schools and a charter school, which was by the Urban Hope Act of a legislation here that was signed on by our congressman at the time, state senator. He was then Donald Norcross, who is now our congressman, who also was victorious this past November 3rd as being reelected as in Congress, whom Crow TV is very familiar with here. He authored some legislation of bringing in this Urban Hope Act and bringing in the finances to build new schools here in the city of Camden. Camden is a very old city, one of the original colonies and been around forever. It's right next to Philadelphia, and some of the schools were almost 100 years old. And so that Urban Hope Act brought in some of the finances that our city needs to rebuild some of the schools. So because of the traditional public schools and servicing our children, seems that the finances or money was being taken away because of the charter. The new Renaissance schools was to open and be a hybrid between both, that it would serve the kids in that community like a traditional public school, but whatever's left over, that they would be like a charter school to be able to choose its school types. So Camden has 3 school types, unlike other districts and cities in New Jersey. Camden has several types of school types. And we know that what we wanted to do is make sure, of course, that our traditional public schools get all that it was necessary in order for our young children to thrive. But we wanted to make sure that parents had choice in choosing school types as we're trying to rebuild the city. But you can't rebuild the city and hoping that middle class black folks and brown folks and all other kind of folks will come back with a failing school districts and not having choice for the parents to have. And this will have our parents in here in the city of Camden to have choice, not just thinking about those who coming back. Our parents, we felt had the right to choose, just as in suburban and other school districts, that they have a right to choose what great school for their children. We wanted the same for our children here, and that's what an innovative way. Now, we're not saying that was the end all of it, that was the perfect solution. However, we're looking at the data and still seeing it, but we do know that it's almost half and half of the school types that the parents are choosing, that they're sending their children to, but it is all public schools, and we're here to serve all of our children here in the city of Camden. That's why we went on education for everyone here in the city of Camden. And of course, as you can see, it resonated in the hearts of our community.
Yes, sir. Are there any early learnings or trends that you all are identifying based on the e-learning that is taking place this semester?
Yeah. We're still, the data's still out there, and we're looking at the e-learning, and we're hoping that, come this January, under our current superintendent, she's going to take another look to see if we're going to ease back into some kind of hybrid learning. And, of course, it'll be devastating, as here in New Jersey, numbers of the COVID-19 is spiking again. And I'm saying to those who listen, not only here in Camden, throughout the country, that we have to be vigilant in this crisis, as we as Muslims know and taught about this time, that, this is the time that we really have to make sure that our communities are clean, our households are clean, we're washing our hands, practicing social distancing, making sure that we're wearing our masks just to be safe. As we say in Islam, that we have faith in Allah, but we tie a camel, and, making sure that we are doing what we have to do, because it's not just involving us, it's involving us with our children having the opportunity that as we can lower the spike of statistics of the people attracted getting COVID-19, that we can get our children back in learning, because we know that in-person learning is what's best and what most of our children need, especially in urban environments where many of them, their environments, school type, in their school environment is sometimes better than the environment, unfortunately, that they come from at home. So that's the very few hours of the day that they get at what we would call somewhat of a, to be in a decent environment.
Yes, sir.
And be in a great learning facility, because we're being challenged like other places. So the data is still out there. We're taking a look at it. I'm hoping and praying that we can get these numbers down, so that we can get our young people back in school, where they can feel and touch and to get the social environment when it comes to education.
Yes, sir. Keeping with that, brother, is that become, as you all evaluate things in January, what is there a collaborative spirit with the local teachers union and the board there? What is that relationship like? I know here in Chicago, as we evaluate things, it seems that our local school board and the Board of Education sometimes consistently clash. It's hard to get a collaborative kind of spirit here locally. But what is the sentiment like in Camden? Because we think, as far as the educators and the board, the children's best interests are what's everyone's focused on, but it might look different. But are you all at least have a more collaborative engagement, or what is that like in Camden?
Well, Brother Jamil, I think you, in your question, I hope that those who are paying attention and listening, that even in your question is the solution, that we have to collaboratively work together as a community when it comes to the teachers union and the school district, working together to make sure that our children first are being educated. Of course, they have their interests, but as far as COVID-19, I think the union and the school district collaborate together, because in order for our children to learn and be safe, that our teachers have to be safe, and we don't want to put no one in harm's way. And that's the best we can do for our children, is to make sure that our staff and the adults are not in harm's way. But yes, it seems sometimes to be contentious relationships with interests. But I think, unlike many other districts and school splits around the country, is no different. Camden is no different than that. But that is our challenge and our goal to for our communities, for our teachers union and our school district to work together. That's our challenge that we have, and that's what it's all about. That's why we try to put the best team out front to deal with that challenge, to make sure that it's a collaboration between both of them.
Okay, brother. All right, brother. Well, what we want to do, brother, is take a quick break. If you'll stay with us on the other side, okay? All right.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir. Brothers and sisters, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more conversation with our brother minister, Wasim Muhammad. We'll be right back.
It's against your own health. That how creates more diseases in your body than you have any dreams of. In fact about it, stop eating the hog, eat right, eat the proper food, and you will find 75% of your sickness leaving you. Yes, just try it.
Assalamu alaikum, and we are back again, brothers and sisters. This is a live call-in show. If you'd like to participate and have a question or a comment from our guest, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, please give us a call at 773-434-6625. Brother Minister, we talked a little bit about the teachers and the board itself, but this has also been a transition for the parents. And with the e-learning, it's required some of the parents to engage in how they learn differently and how they support their children. And so what feedback through this process are you all hearing from the parents on how they're transitioning with e-learning as well?
Thank you, Brother Jamil. It's a great question. And that was one of the passions of our late school board president, Ms. Martha Wilson, of parent education. Is she was a stickler with that. And that's one of the things that we have to continue to move on that particular part of her legacy, is that this e-learning is really, really showing that of why education, because it is so vast, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, that, is a never time that when we're not learning. And the parents learning, the more the parents know, the more the young and more informative that the parents are, the more informative and the better learning that the children are, even without e-learning, because we know that true learning starts in the home. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was so eager, with changing us and what we do in our home, and teaching our women and girls how to manage the home, and teaching us as men to how to put our women in an environment to manage their home, and making sure that education was thoroughly installed into us, and that he said that he blamed the parents for children, and we don't blame the children for parents. So as we try to work and change that in the outer community, through different services that we have to offer now, because we didn't know that we was going to have the year 2020, with COVID-19 and the exciting and difficult year that we've had here, and the challenge that we've had in this country. And it's really coming to showing us the importance of why we have to continue with adult education for our people and our community, so that in times like this, because if this is just the beginning, that we'll be prepared for it, and to have our parents learn along with the children, and not be in the mode of being embarrassed, and not feeling the sense of embarrassment, that through that Title I funding, that we can make Title I really what it is one of the things it's designed to do.
Yes, sir. And I believe that although 2020 has been a challenging and devastating year on the community, really had an impact throughout the world, I do believe that out of that adversity, there are things that we have learned in different learnings that we can apply to make ourselves stronger. And no doubt that I have a lot of empathy for the children, because anytime you lose momentum and have to adjust, time doesn't stop. And so you can't really make that up. You have to do the best. And this impacts, whether it's at the collegiate level, high school, all the way down to the elementary school, it's different. It's requiring more from the parents, from the teachers, from everyone. But, as you move forward, certain things are often lost without that direct communication. And, who knows, it could be, on a way to a new way of learning. Some people who are not familiar with the technology have now learned to become more comfortable with it. However, we have to use it for the gains, but there's no substitute for that in-person learning, and we pray that we get to a point where we can resume that once again. We're going to go to the line, brother. I think we have a caller. Okay, caller, you're on the air with.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I'd like to say congratulations, Brother Wasim.
Well, thank you.
I spent, Camden's a special place to me. I graduated Rutgers Camden, African American Studies. I actually came into the mosque at Rutgers, New Brunswick, in the Brothers Mosque number 85 under the Minister Farrakhan, and went to Rutgers Newark some semesters, and Mosque number 25 with Qadir. Spent a lot of time in New York and Harlem and with the brothers. But what was also unique about Camden to me was the bookstore there on 6th Street. I believe Brother Larry, La Unique. I spent hours and hours and would talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He had the books of the Messenger there, as well as other authors, and really touched me. And I watched you for years with Crow and things you've done there, and had a question. One thing I do just personally with volunteering, particularly in South Jersey down near Atlantic County, I made a donation of 33 books to their local youth detention facility. Do you have, or the school board, have a relationship with the youth detention center there in terms of, no child left behind, what happens once they get in the system, and then what would happen when they come out? And then the second question, and I'm going to hang up, have locals or women and minority businesses been able to provide services and vendor contracts with the Board of Education? Thank you very much. I salute you and congratulations, and keep up the great work, my brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much for your question, my dear brother. And you do know the Camden area. Yes, brother, Mr. Larry Miles is still there at La Unique Bookstore. Our brother and sister Mosque there, Mosque 20, meets there. And before the pandemic, my brother and friend and another mentor of mine, student minister Omar Kareem, is actually there too as well, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And yes, brother, I always keep, I wouldn't say the board at large, although I speak for the board, but a part of our work we've been doing here at Temple number 20. I've worked with a lot of our adjudicated youth through several programs back past with this administration and administration here now before COVID-19. We were working with our young people, and then the work we do every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday of going after our people and training young people. And we work 7 days a week with the University of Islam, first by leading by example with our children and what we want other children to do. We try to lead by example here at Temple number 20. But however, and our outreach is to our community, as I worked with several programs, the mall program, and working with adjudicated youth. I have a great relationship with the judge here, Judge Dorch, whose sister Nora Muhammad works diligently with young girls, because we see a spike in young girls being adjudicated in that justice system as well as too. And she works collusively with Judge Dorch, as we've been working together with them. And I personally went and sat in cases and made statements on behalf of young people, and had to go and work on behalf of the judge with families and getting them out so that they won't be incarcerated. And this is the work that we do, and I do that daily. And I think that's why, although this was a special year of that we had limitations on campaigning, couldn't do the traditional, but the community already knew that Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad was out there in the community, and the work that we've already did with this pandemic is just led right into what we're doing. Yes, those minority contracts is somewhat difficult to get our people involved with in our community. We always going to try and continue to work That's one of our pathways that we're here to make sure that our people is being represented. This is why the people of Camden put us in these places, in spaces to do that kind of work and that kind of, to be at the table to make sure that our community, minority and small business and female businesses are represented with those contracts that are throughout the district. And that's some of the things that we want to continue to do and make sure under the watch of Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad that we can even do a better job.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad that our caller asked that question and you touched on it because there are many layers and responsibilities that go along with being on the board. Ultimately, of course, it's the education, but, as you said, many times the school environment is often better than the home or community environment in some cases. And so where there are things, people, there are other additional support services that the students find at school. Some people, they rely on getting their meals there. And then it is important to have equity among some of the vendors who are serving. So that is another capacity that you have to look at. And so I want the community to understand that when you're in these positions, there's a lot more responsibilities that just that go beyond just the classroom. There's a lot of other things that go along with that as well.
Yes, such as governance and, contracts and teacher union contracts and working on behalf and all of those things that are necessary. And I just can't thank enough in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and raising his message. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had the opportunity to not only serve Muhammad's temple here in Camden on Hatton Avenue, but to serve the broader community and for the community to say, hey, we like the work that you do, Brother Minister, and the work that you have done in the past, that we elected you and to be that person, to be representing us here at the table, to make sure all of those things, that we make our community a safe and decent place to live. So we have to and must get involved in the work in our community. That's why, Brother Jamil, I can't thank your father enough, as we can't talk about Brother Benir, as we say, the righteous, that we perceive them as that they are well alive.
Yes, sir.
And his spirit and the work that he has done, as we listened to Dr. Tyrone Powers last Sunday,
yes,
talk about, his inspiration of your father, and that along with the co-founders, even with myself, of getting involved and having Mayor Red, say, come on, brother, we need you to serve, the larger community, because we're trying to serve all of our people.
Yes,
all of our people. Elijah Muhammad said all of our people.
Yes, sir.
Is who he's after. And that's our job.
Yes, sir, brother. And I hope that those in our viewing audience who are inspired by that understand, especially with this election, understand that in this book, The Message to the Black Man in America, written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, on page 172, it says, put the Muslim program to Congress. And I encourage you to acquire this book. Get it, read it. If you've read it, reread it, because this is a time in which we have to build upon. And so, please, the message to the black man, please go to the website at www.croe.org, and find out more information on where you can acquire this book, because it's important that if we are in this political realm, if we have been galvanized and enthusiastic about participating in this process, that we put forth a program that will work towards the salvation of our people. And the program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the most effective one to really change the condition of the black man and woman here in America. And I know that at many levels we have our black elected officials who are doing good for our people. They're working hard and they're putting their efforts forward. But collectively as a nation, if we could stand behind the program and bring it forth, I think it would be great. And brother, I want to touch a little bit about that. We know in the national scene, Camden is getting a little bit of news from former mayor of New York, Giuliani, accusing some of the Camden residents from going over into Philadelphia, voting a little bit. How did the people in Camden receive that, brother?
Brother, as we always, Camden has been getting such a positive image in media. I guess, they had to say something negative about our city. And Brother Jamil, I'm so glad that you said, as I said earlier, I'm glad that Philadelphia, in the wake of, a horrific story of a shooting that it had last week that kind of stifled the city and put the city on somewhat lockdown, that Philadelphia has now gotten some great news, our sister city, because we're really rooting for our people there in Philadelphia and, and building on that. And this is the time, I'm glad you brought up message to the black man. This is the time to build on that our people seems to be elated with that. And that onus is on us as Muslim followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to show our people that this program is relevant and can work by what we do first. And this is why this is a wise time for our people to not try to kill our people's joy. We know they have sometimes false hopes and promises in a system that always turn back and hasn't given us what we have given them. And hopefully when President-elect Biden comes in, as he acknowledged, the black community for helping him, that he too have an opportunity to give the black community what it needs in order for it to grow. But we say have the Muslims a part of that conversation. If we're divided and divisive with one another and not following the core program and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as he told us to unite like a solid wall and settle on the best part and settle our differences, that we can be an example and a shining light that government will come looking for us in our program. We can't just talk about our program. I love my brother Ice Cube, and it's a good day that we have it here in Camden today. But they are entertainers, can do their part, but the program is with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it's what we put forth. And this is why we here in Camden try on a very smaller level to show that what we believe and teach here, that we can express it. And this is what makes us be at so many tables, myself and others, as well as Sister Nora and others, Sister Shabri and them and others, be at tables that we are, because we're trying to show that the program works. They see us every day. They hear us every day. We're on television. We're on Crow. You all there on television every day, showing that the program works, that we got to get the information to our people. And the more that we can do that, then we can show those in leadership, as the messengers say, the civilized world, that the answer is here with the students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what we do with the program.
Sir. Yes, sir, brother. The messenger said it best, said, we cannot change our condition if we have to change our way of thinking, for it is thought that actually changes us. And so my concern, I'm happy, and I don't want to diminish the enthusiasm of our people, but they cannot rest on their laurels and expect someone else to usher in freedom and justice and equality on behalf of our people, when we have a messenger that was raised by Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad to bring us the exact truth to do that. And students and people who are impacted by him with that truth, working collectively on behalf of our people to usher that in. And that is why it's so important for this wave of black consciousness, of black unity, that our country, we see people, our people are participating in right now, that we build on that momentum and don't think just because the presidency changes that the whole institution of America is going to change, because that's not the case. We have to continue working on behalf of our people. And remember, that flag of Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. That is all that we want. That is the banner in which all should want to live. And that is what we believe that we should be working towards as we put forth this program, not only of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to Congress, but as we live righteously and lead by example with our people and showing them what love and respect really looks like, brother.
Yes, sir. But Brother Jamil, you hit the nail right on the head. And what we stand for, that flag, the sun, moon, and star, what it represents
Yes,
to
sir.
our people, and we have to get out and make our community a safe and decent place to live. That, as I stated earlier, onus is on us. We have the problem to solve, and if we have the solution, we have to show in our solution that we can solve the problem. And you ain't got to go looking for them; they'll come looking for us, as the messenger said to us
Yes,
in
sir.
his latter days before his departure. That we like to go and try to blame that old white man for our problems. A little sly way that we have, and try to blame him for our problems. But our number one problem is that we won't come together and do for self and build for self and think for self. And as long as we have someone else doing that for us, they will forever treat us like that. I'm glad you said about the systemic problem. That no one individual going to change the systemic problem all right away. That we have to do our part.
Yes, sir. Brother, let me ask you, and I know that this didn't happen in Camden, but it did happen in the sister city of Philadelphia. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. There was a brother, there was a call based on, I think he was having a mental health episode, and it resulted in him being shot by the police. I understand that the police were not equipped with tasers, but the election is really taking over the media from that. And I'm just, since you're local, has there been any update on that? I know that there was some protesting going on immediately after, but just anything you could share about that situation.
Yes, and I kind of mentioned that earlier. Thank you, Brother Jamil, to be able to say that and to talk about that. And that is across the river's unfortunate situation. And as you know, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad is involved deeply in Camden, what Camden made the news about his police, and it was just poor police training, and it was a terrible situation. Yes, Philadelphia did erupt in an insurrection behind that. The election kind of calmed things down, but it was just a poor, unfortunate situation across the board, showing us why we have to reallocate, and you take another look at how we police in America, as Camden is as that example, due to the extreme of changing it. But maybe some areas you don't have to change it, but you gotta, we have to take another look at it and, make some changes within the system to do better by our people. And maybe, as Dr. Tyrone Powell said, that we have to get involved more in our community, because we would have knew Pookie. We would have understood that. We'd have, I think we should have ran in circles. We should have ran in circles until the man got tired, and then settling down. But when you got others policing our community and not familiar with our community and not used to living around that kind of environment and different environment, and when we are styled in media as the boogeyman, it's just a bad situation. So we have to be able to police our own communities, and be able to take that look at that and train our young people in the schools and education to get ready for those positions in their community, because we need policing in our community, but it's better that we do it.
And I'm glad you said that, and I know that's probably a topic for another show, but as Dr. Powers mentioned, and we've seen it here, we just don't have a lot of interest within our community of our young people interested in being police officers, or there are things that they're not being told at a young age that disqualify them from being a candidate of the police force. And we have to, if we're going to be a part of this, we have to have people in position, police officers, firemen, emergency technicians, as far as the ambulances, the EMTs, people who are trained to serve our community. They have to look like us, but we have to start at an early age at not only preparing them, but advising them on the things that would disqualify them, or have people in position to change some of the qualifications of that, or at least a broader sense of educational awareness of what that is, because that's the only way that we're going to bring about change, because we have to get in those positions in order to change the way of thinking and what it looks like in order to build trust in that community or with that relationship.
Yes, sir. And that's why I'm so very grateful that I have relationships. And I want to also, as I'm talking about this election, thank our second ward councilman, Vic Starfin, and my backcourt mate in high school. We went on and had great basketball career at Temple University. here. He's the second ward councilman here in Camden City. Was just on the radio program with Sister Nora this past Tuesday, for helping out with this campaign. And of course, our sheriff, Gilbert Wilson, as we was a part his team that they put forward because of the work that he has done in the community as a service person to the community, as a police officer, a council person, a state legislator in so many capacities, now sheriff. And of course, Mayor Dana Red, Miss Novella Stark Simpson and her son, Pastor Chad Henston and Brother Willie Hunter, and all of those, my running mates, Karen Marritz and Clayton Gonzalez, for the opportunity in the Camden City Democrat Committee, chaired by Mr. Councilman Angel Fuentes and Council President Curtis Jenkins, for having the opportunity to run on that slate. Meant the world to me, and it's about building relationships so that we can get it. Crow, you all just posted something on social media, how the messenger was saying to us, your latest post of the clips that y'all played, and we love that y'all post about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of saying why we, the Muslims, have to get involved, to make change in our community. That when we took our community, and the work that we're doing here in Camden, I'm just thankful to the Muslim community, my Muslim community of even the Orthodox Muslim community under Imam Warifdeen Muhammad, their support there on here in Camden Masjid Noor that I was a youngster that grew up in, and just the Muslim community at large.
Well, I'm glad they're supporting you, brother. We're wrapping up in this show, but Muhammad Speaks Radio this upcoming Tuesday at 9:30. And what's the radio station?
WTMRradio.com.
Yes, sir.
Around the country.
All right.
800 AM.
Yes, sir. Brother, thank you for joining us, brother. I appreciate you. We're going to have you on again soon. And brothers and sisters, on behalf of Minister Wasim Muhammad, the Crow Television production team, the co-founders of Crow, and all the people who are for freedom, justice, and equality, I'm your host, Jamil Muhammad, leaving you in the greetings of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.